back. Last week, I spoke with Noor bin Laden, the niece of Osama bin Laden. And bear with me here for a second, who completely denounces every evil thing her uncle stood for. It was a very fascinating interview, and I look forward to having her back on the show. Take a look at this. When Joe Biden arrived in Geneva last week ahead of his meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, many people were actually protesting his arrival, including the niece of Osama bin Laden. Now, bear with me here. That right there is Noor bin Laden, who was part of a pro-Trump boat flotilla on Lake Geneva. Can you believe that? You might be shocked to hear this, but Noor bin Laden is a strong supporter of former President Trump and calls herself an American at heart. Now, Noor has never met her uncle Osama, who is dead. Her father, Osama's brother, married a Swiss woman many years ago. They split up when Noor was just 8 months old, and Noor remained with her mother. Noor bin Laden has denounced the 9/11 attacks and just last year publicly announced her support for Donald Trump in a letter entitled My Letter to America. And Noor bin Laden joins us tonight to talk about all of this. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's good to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.
So, yeah, obviously this is a very surreal interview to have. You call yourself a patriot at heart, and I just want to ask, how did you come to support Donald Trump, even though you live in Switzerland?
I think first and foremost, I am a great supporter of America. And I have been since a very early age, because while Switzerland is my home and my home country, I've been traveling to America multiple times a year since the age of 3 years old. So America is really like my second home. And another reason why I love America so much is because of my very particular situation. I came to appreciate and value freedom greatly, again, from early on in my childhood, because of the realization of how different my life would have been had I been raised, in Saudi Arabia, in a society like Saudi Arabia, as opposed to the West. And to me, watching events unfold over the past few years, especially, it was important for me to use whatever platform I had to come out in support of President Trump ahead of the 2020 election. And while I'd been supporting him from afar since he first announced he was running in 2015, I felt incredibly strongly that now was the time to speak up and join the millions of patriots who want to fight for America.
I can understand, your fascination with the United States, freedom. I can understand your respect for it. Growing up in Switzerland versus Saudi Arabia, you can certainly understand how much better of a life you've been able to have, and I do understand all that. What is it about Republican American politics versus Democrat American politics, though? Because both parties, at least ostensibly, are all for freedom and a lot of the things that you love about America.
It boils down to the love of America and to the deep appreciation of what the founding fathers were able to accomplish, namely securing the foundations of the greatest country in the history of the world. And it's incredibly heartbreaking to me to see a ruling class that is so anti-American, that hates America, and that is doing everything in its power to indoctrinate the entire population into becoming anti-American like them. And this is precisely the reason why it's not Democrat or Republican, it's America first.
Wow, that's very well said. You say in your letters you've never met Osama bin Laden, never had any contact with him. I can't imagine it's easy to speak up with your last name. How complicated does your name make things?
Listen, it's the name with which I was born. It's the name on my passport. And it's just a question of I've never been a victim. I've never had that mentality. And even when the tragedy of 9/11 happened, I was 14 years old. And it was never a question about changing my name or hiding my identity. It is what it is. This is the name that I carry. And it's up to me. I realize that it's somewhat my responsibility to properly state what my beliefs are, what my values are, and they so happen to be completely antithetical to what this name represents. And so I choose to state that, and I choose to, yes, use this name, which I knew would be an immediate platform in order to stand up for what is right, what is just, and my beliefs. This is the freedom that I have.
Sure.
And I'm intent on using it.
Understood. In a recent letter titled A New War on Terror, you wrote, Osama bin Laden got his wish. But what he and all of America's other foes fail to understand is that despite all their attempts to destroy her, America will prevail. Whether foreign or domestic, her enemies don't stand a chance in the face of American patriotism and courage. Love of freedom, God and country is more powerful than the conniving evil designs of the globalist ruling class. So it sounds to me like you are very much a populist.
You know, this was, by the way, my latest article, which I wrote for revolver.news. And the reason why I wrote that Osama bin Laden got his wish, it was in response to, or in reference rather, to documents that were found in his Abbottabad compound, whereby he stated that he wished that then Vice President Biden would or managed to get the presidency in order to basically plunge America into a crisis. And this is what we've seen unfold, unfortunately, since January 20, just the chaos that has ensued since this regime has been installed in the White House. And the message that I say, whether domestic or foreign, and it so happens that right now America is being completely subverted from within. Yeah. I have full faith. I have full faith in patriots, and that America will prevail. You managed to do it 245 years ago, and you will do it again. The one thing that's been incredibly upsetting to me, and I've been following this incredibly closely since January 6th, and this whole narrative about the insurrection, how that has unfolded, and I've been following closely, again, the investigative work of Revolver News, Darren Beattie, and also Julie Kelly at American Greatness, unraveling all the different lies about that day.
Sure.
And just seeing how the whole national security apparatus, whether it's the DOD, the DOJ, DHS, and obviously the intelligence community, all being weaponized and turned inwards to target upstanding, innocent Americans. It just upsets me so much for various reasons. But I abhor injustice, and in a very strange way, even though the situation is very, very different. I know what it's like to be labeled a terrorist for actions that I did not commit.
Absolutely.
And I protesting in Geneva last week with this Trump won sign was about election integrity, yes. But for me, very deeply, it was about sending a message that I stand with the American patriots who went to the Capitol on January 6th to protest and defend their constitutional rights. And
Understood.
To me, that was very important.
All right. Noor bin Laden, one of the most interesting people and interviews I've ever had. Thank you so much for the time. We do appreciate it. And we're going to keep in touch with you. And thank you so much for joining us.
I just want to say one more thing, if I may. I'd like the American people to know that despite all the lies that are being said about your country, there are millions of patriots like myself who really value and admire what your founding fathers accomplished. And don't listen to all these lies that this ruling class are trying to spread about you.
Understood. Noor, thank you so much.
Thank you.